Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Princess and I welcome you to Sexuality Corner with me. Okay, we're going to be looking at a topic that when I get questions, at least when I look at the frequently asked questions that I've received over the years, and I'm talking of over 2 decades. How do I recognize a child molester? Or somebody who's going to perpetrate the crime, somebody who's going to sexually abuse my child? How do I recognize that person? What are the things I need to look out for to know that this person can abuse my child? For that, in the next series, we're going to have a series on this particular topic, and so today is going to be part 1, where we'll be looking at who is the abuser. How can you recognize an abuser? How do we unconsciously ignore warning signs and, predispose our children to sexual introduction to sex, to abuse, whether it is touching or not touching? When we say sexual abuse, we say there are 2 types, which of course is touching, which means there's physical and body contact, and then of course the non-touching, which means that without even touching a child, you are actually sexually molesting the child. So that's what we'll be looking at, so stay tuned. Welcome back. There are individuals who molest children. Some people use the word pedophile. Some say molester, some say abuser, But at the end of the day, a child is affected and their life is seriously damaged. So we'll be looking at, different things. A victim is the one who receives the effects of the crime, particularly when it's a child. For adults, they say a survivor, but a child is a victim. They don't understand what it is you're doing with them, even when they show physical satisfaction with pleasure. Does not guarantee that the child understands what is going on, And of course, a perpetrator is the one who causes those effects that happen on a child. I'll be sharing stories in between this, of course, because for us to be able to look at scenarios that make us understand that, okay, we hear the stranger thing. Oh, it's a stranger who's going to come and abuse your child. Oh, so tell children, don't talk to strangers, which of course is good and great. We have other things apart from sexual abuse. We have kidnapping, we have, hijacking, abductions, and different things that happen in the world. Depending on where you are, we have even ritual killings in certain parts of the world. So it depends on exactly what it is you're looking at. But basically, of course, children shouldn't talk to strangers. And so we tell children, oh, there are strangers and all of that. So who is the abuser? And how are parents, and guardians and people who work with children be ignorant of this particular fact? Because sometimes, we can actually guarantee people. It's something that we find, oh, that person cannot do that kind of thing. Oh, I know him so much. No, he can't. You do not know anybody but yourself. Really. But yourself. You do not know anyone but yourself. So we're going to be looking at that now. So I'm going to say an abuser can be anyone caring for a child or close to that child, a parent, a stepfather or mother, other relative, a nanny, a teacher, a neighbor, a friend, whoever has the particular word which I'm going to use now, accessibility. You have access to that child. So anyone who has access to a child can be an abuser. It could be the driver who takes the child to school. It could be the school bus driver or the assistant. It could be another student or pupil, depending on what grade the child is. So is it nursery, is it primary, is it a high school? So all of that is there. Is it siblings even molest one another? So there are things to look at, for us to understand that there are these people who have accessibility to the child, are the ones who are closest to the child, and so they're the ones who can abuse a child. And let me give you an example. We're living in a household. We have a father, we have a mother, we have two daughters, we have two sons. Maybe the girls are between 15 and 8, and the boys are like 3 and 12. Okay, so that's a scenario of a home. And of course, we have a living maid who lives with them, who is like 30, you know. And so in that circumstance in the home, who can be a potential abuser? Now, I'm just trying to help us, you know, have an understanding of how close abusers are. How the proximity of accessibility. Every person else minus the child is a potential abuser in that scenario. Now, that's just to show us proximity and accessibility to a child. Now, I'm not saying the father or the mother, but they can be. We have seen it happen. A sibling, an elder sibling, a living nanny, a father, and even a mother. It's happening. You read the news, you see, so you know. So I'm not telling you something that is weird or strange. Now, so this person, what are we going to say about this person? This person, called by different titles in different locations and under different sector, in the criminal justice sector, they're an accused person, you know, a perpetrator, somebody who perpetrates something, a crime, or somebody who does something that is not good. And then, so we're looking, they can be male or they can be female. They can be an adult, or they can be a teen, or they can be a preteen, and they can even be a minor. And, you know, when it comes to children, we look at it more as victimization, except for certain children today are actually being tried by adult law because of the gravity of the sexual crime. So it's important to know that it's not just older people who molest children. Oh, the man is 80 years old and he molested a 3-year-old. Oh, the man is 70. Oh, he's 50. He's 40. He's 30. He's 25. And he took an 8-year-old girl and he sexually molested. No. An 8-year-old can also molest. A 5-year-old, a preteen, a 11, 10 to 12, 13 to 17, 18 and above, anyone. We've seen even children as little as a day old being sexually violated. Now, this is not to scare. I always say when we're talking about sexual abuse, it always seems like fear is what the message carries. But what I'm trying to do here is to demystify fear, for you to know that it's nothing to be afraid of, but it's something to overcome. And because understanding, knowledge gives light, and understanding certain things help you to know that, okay, fine, okay, so that's how it is. So it's not, I should not just be looking out for, some people say my daughters are the ones I'm scared for. My sons, your sons are equally. The same way we have perpetrators in as male or female, it's the same way sexual abuse, we say child. It affects a female child, it affects a male child. They are both there's a word I use, extinct. You know, we say the experience of childhood is extinct. They're actually going to extinction in terms of that experience of being a child. You know, so male and female are both affected by child sexual abuse. Okay, as we were talking about, we're going to look at some few facts. Contrary to popular belief, perpetrators of sexual abuse are well known to the child and to their immediate family, which I've established with the example I gave of just using a particular family unit. And that's, I'm going to extend that example now to say, okay, to the school, the class teacher, maybe the assistant, so a bit of some management level of the administration of the school. Sometimes you do know that in your religious setting, whether it is church or mosque or your temple, there's accessibility. Like, remember we said access. People have access. The Sunday school teacher, their home lesson teacher who comes home to teach them, you know, go to the academic and work with them. The sports teacher, the coach, you getting it now? Who comes in to teach them music teaching, teaches them piano lessons or different other instruments. There is accessibility is what we have established. So these are people that you, as a parent or guardian, you do know. Caregivers, you put your child in a daycare center. Of course, you know them. I mean, somehow, whether you're paying for the services or not, there is accessible to these people. So that's basically your driver, your workers, sometimes even your employees or your colleagues have access to your children. Your very close friends. Some children is the godfather, is the godmother. You know all those positions, the pastor, the imam, the Arabic teacher. I mean, I'm just using that just to mention that community of people who you are familiar with. So that is really establishing that fact that they are the ones who molest children the most. Over 90% of reported cases